We've been fighting a long time, and we have all lost so very much, so many loved ones gone. But you are not alone. There are pockets of resistance all around the planet. We are at the brink. You have no idea how important you are. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
Ave Maria Stella, Dei Mater Alma, atque semper Virgo, Felix Teliport.
Welcome, everybody. We're with Father Anthony Maria, the Papa Transalpine Redemptorists, the Sons of the Most Holy Redeemer. And here to just give a little background on the order and a little history of it. And yeah, just give you guys an idea of who they are, since in the States, they're not many known by most of us, except if you're with the fraternity, you know them a lot. But outside of fraternity, probably about 99.9% of us probably don't know much about them. So Father, welcome. And yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks very much, Steve, for having me on the show. That's great. And to allow us to get to be known amongst those people who look at your site, which is excellent, by the way. Thanks very much. I've had a lot of people who are really appreciative of it and have said it's helped them come to the faith, keep the faith and everything like that. So thank you. Oh. So a little bit ourselves. Yeah, we are now the Sons of the Most Holy Redeemer. We were accepted into church in 2012 by Benedict XVI through our bishop in Aberdeen. So that's just who we are, just rather than, we'll get back to that. The Redemptorists, so our vocation or our spirituality is the Redemptorist vocation, which is an order which was founded by Saint Alphonsus in 1732, approved in the church in 1732, with a specific mission of going out and preaching to the most abandoned souls. So that was his aim. In Naples, where he founded the church, there were thousands of priests who were in the city, but hardly any that went out to the countryside to look after those who were poor and didn't have a very good grasp of the faith. So he went out to the most abandoned. So that is the mission. It's preaching missions, what we call the popular mission, which is getting right to the fundamentals of the faith. So death, judgment, heaven, hell, salvation. Basically, the fundamental thing is to save your soul. So St. Alphonsus wanted to do anything and everything he could in order to save the souls of those people who seem to be the most abandoned and needing the most help in order to get to heaven. It actually was our Lord who revealed the mission or the congregation to a mystic, Venerable Maria Celeste Crosta Rosa, and St. Alphonsus was sent to verify whether those visions were genuine, and he was the chosen person by our Lord to begin this congregation. So the congregation actually was wanted by God, by our Lord Jesus Christ, and so St. Alphonsus was just simply fulfilling the wishes of Almighty God in that regard. So the congregation spread through, it began in Naples, had difficulties there, then crossed the Alps and went into Bohemia, where there was St. Clement Hofbauer, and from there it then spread to the rest of the world quite early on into the United States. And so the Redemptorists are quite well known throughout the world. So what is our connection? Because we celebrate the traditional Latin Mass. So the Sons of the Most Holy Redeemer began quite a long time ago, basically without the approval of the church, because it was quite difficult at the time in order to celebrate the traditional Latin Mass in the 1980s. And so we just began a foundation without ecclesiastical approval. And in other words, following the Redemptorist vocation exactly as it was before Vatican II, just the old rule and everything like that. So we finally did get approval, as I said, in 2012 by Benedict XVI. And so we're fully approved by the church. We work in the diocese here of Aberdeen, as well as in Christchurch in New Zealand. I can carry on. Is there any questions you want to ask there now, or?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, it's just the yeah, good background on everything. But yeah, it's going to go with what is the uh, the mission of the Sons of Holy Redeemer is the same as it was at the origin, right?
Yeah. So we began first in England. We moved to France, ended up in Scotland, where we are now, and have recently come to New Zealand. And yeah, the mission is basically the same. It's to preach the missions to the most abandoned, and we haven't been able to do much of that because the foundation has been pretty much in its or baby stages, if you like. We're 6 priests in the congregation. There are 3 here in New Zealand, 3 in Papa-Stransay. But we'd like to have that possibility of going out and preaching the popular mission, which is a series of sermons given over a period of a week or a little bit longer, usually a week at the moment, speaking about the eternal truth, death, judgment, heaven, hell, devotion to Our Lady, prayer, basically just how to save yourself. So if you've got someone who is not practicing the faith, so it is aimed directly at Catholics who are Catholics first of all, but then Catholics who are not practicing their faith, trying to get them to back to the faith, back to the church, back to loving our Lord. But then if you are practicing the faith, it's still good for you because you want to become more fervent. So it applies to everyone, and the eternal truths will always apply to everyone. So that is the mission. We've have preached missions in the past. About 10 years ago, we did quite a few missions. I haven't done them for a while. But the effect of the mission is extraordinary, is that it lifts up the whole parish. A retreat lifts up a small group who may be, who were on the retreat, they get lifted up, they're fervent, they go back to their parish, but no one else in the parish has changed. And so they can get, in a certain sense, back to the usual routine. Whereas when you preach a parish mission to the whole church, the whole parish church, everyone is lifted up, and there's a marked difference in the fervor of the parish where we preach. And so that makes a huge difference with these missions. And I was recently in the United States in October and heard about a mission that we'd preached in 1999. Still, that's 20 years later, they remembered the mission, and well, I was preaching it, and so I was really amazed. And so it does have a big effect on people. And you often hear people speak about the Redemptorist missions. Oh, I remember the Redemptorist missions, there were this and that. So yeah, we're trying to get back to that.
Is it more of a just you just need more manpower for that, or is it just no one's inviting anybody, or?
No, so we've been invited years and years to say, please come, please come. It's manpower, really. As I say, we're in the founding stages still, because we've been, as I said, approved in the church in 2012. We've got 2 brothers who are deacons at the moment at Our Lady of Guadalupe Seminary in Nebraska. I think once they're ordained in May, that'll give us 8 priests, which will make a significant difference to the ability for us to preach the mission. So, as I say, I was in the States in October. I went to about 4 or 5 fraternity parishes, so they will remember me if they hook onto your site. So I was in Atlanta, particularly Kansas, Idaho, Colorado. And yeah, so we've got manpower is a bit of a difficulty. We'll be able to get out and preach the missions once we have the 2 brothers ordained, as I say, in May. And so when I was out there preaching, 2 priests asked, will we be able to preach missions? Mm-hmm. So, two of the priests said, oh, we'd really like you to come back and preach a mission, because they quite like the sermon and everything like that. So there is the availability to preach the missions, people asking us, but we haven't got the manpower just yet. And also, when you get a young priest, they need to be trained in the manner of preaching, things like that. So, but we really want to get onto it as soon as possible. Yeah.
So future-wise, I'm assuming more of a outreach for vocations and bring them onto the island for kind of visits like that? Is that easy? Just contact the website. How's that go about?
So at the moment, we have 6 vocations from the United States. Well, 4 of them are in the habit. 3 have vows. 3 have final vows. 1 has temporary vows, and then 2, 3 others who are looking or novices. So we do have a lot of vocations that do come to the United States. So yeah, it's writing in, letting us know who you are, and there's a bit of a vetting just to make sure that everything's good, and yeah, just either visiting the house in Papa-Stronsay or even coming to New Zealand. So we do have at the moment a young American from Kansas who has come to New Zealand to try his vocation because it was a lot easier to get here at the time, and we've got a young man from Auckland who's trying his vocation. So here we've got 2 people who are trying the vocation. This is New Zealand. And Papa-Stronsay, there are 3 or 4. So we're growing on all sides. Yeah, so in fact, the idea, because we had so many vocations from the United States, is to move to the United States. And so I put that word out, as I did when I was there in October, that we are wanting to move to the United States. It'll probably be our next mission, because we've got so many vocations from there, and a lot of our support comes from there. So
very good.
Yeah.
And if anybody's considering, correct me if I'm wrong, Father, I think it was Benedict 15th that said that the easiest way to get to heaven was become a Redemptorist.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember the exact quote, but yeah, there's some amazing quotes from the popes and the saints. Yeah.
And full disclosure, my family is originally from Naples, so got a connection there. I joined the confraternity of the Our Lady of Perpetual Help, which I think is the only, your site's the only one that still has that.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So yes, so future trying to move to the States, increase vocations, get more missions. How's the, I'm assuming fundraising is needed for for education for the seminarians.
Yeah. So it's true. Yeah, it's a big burden on our resources to educate the seminarians. We have to send them across the world for the education, first of all, and then even at the seminary itself, it costs quite an extensive amount. I think I'm not sure exactly. Don't quote me on it, although I'm going to say it. It's something like $25,000 a year for a seminarian to go to the seminary, and there's all the other things that go with it. So we do need those finances. We're in poor places. Here we are in New Zealand. It's quite the faith. We have big families. There's not a lot of money. It's a totally different situation to America. I mean, I'm not saying every American's rich and millionaires. It's totally not the case, I know. But we've had our major support from the United States, and grateful for all those who've been able to help us. In Papa-Stronsay, we're on an island in the North Sea, basically. It's off an island, off another island. So we're really remote there. We have no faithful basically come to the Mass. We've got a couple of, on a neighboring island that we go to and say the Mass. We have a few people who come to the church. So finances there are, just about negligible. So we do rely totally on donations from everyone. And we're trying to build a monastery in New Zealand. And hopefully, well, yeah, I was in the United States in October. We did a fundraising tour. It was pretty good. We were looking for about 150,000. We only got about a third of that, which that's excellent. Can't complain. But any help that we can get, yeah, certainly are grateful.
Very good, very good. Please help these guys out because they're a tremendous order. I actually got the background of their chapel in the fake green screen of mine, but
Right.
yeah, please guys support these guys. They also have the best Catholic newspaper I think in the world. It's called The Catholic. Can you tell a little bit more about the newspaper, or you want?
Yeah, that's great. Well, just a quick word. It actually began in Australia, and the person was going to close it down and said, well, no, would we take it over? So we took over a running newspaper, and it just has developed into our own style. It's this style which is very Alphonsian, devotional, just promoting the faith, just really uplifting things, beautiful holy pictures. There's a centerfold picture page, beautiful Catholic pictures, stories that help, keep people's faith alive. St. Alfonso says that, a good book, a good life of a saint does a tremendous amount of good to souls. You don't always need these deep theological stuff. It's sometimes just the lives of the saints. And so we kind of bring that popular piety and devotion to the faithful, and yeah, as you said, the faithful love it. We just need to get more subscriptions to it, because there's a lot of hard work that goes into it, and there's not that many people that subscribe to it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely my favorite. When it gets in the mail, just it makes my day when it sees it, and just go flip through all the HD photos. I was showing them off to a Novus Ordo group up in Fort Collins last year, and they were going, "This is fantastic. How do I get there?" And you go, check it out. And,
right.
So yeah, that's another part of this, was trying to spread the word about the newspaper. I'm just such a big fan of it. I got a couple framed that I just taken out of the photo section and got in nice little frames. But,
exactly. Yeah, they're done for that. Yeah, that's really good.
Oh yeah, we can't say enough about it. Well, Father, thanks for your time. I don't want to hold you up. I know you're busy, and anything I can do to help, just shoot me a line. We'll do it. And yeah, God bless you, and thank you for everything.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to just give a few words about our congregation and everything. So thanks,
Oh,
Stephen.
you're very welcome. Could we get your blessing before you go?
Certainly. Benedictio Dei omnipotentis, Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti descendet super te, et vos et manet semper. Amen.